This is Long Story Short from the Connecticut Mirror and WSHU Public Radio. I'm Ebong Udoma. Tax relief for Connecticut renters bogs down in the state legislature despite huge surpluses.
I expect you'll see these come back, and I think you will see them come back with increasing pressure when you're dealing with gas prices over $4 a gallon.
That's Keith Phaneuf, the Connecticut Mirror's state budget reporter. He's done a deep dive into claims that Connecticut's tax system is unfair, but proposed changes could mean trade-offs. More to come after this.
Whether you order a grinder or a hero for lunch, spend summers on the Sound or on Jones Beach, and I'm not even going near the pizza debate, there's something for nutmeggers and Long Islanders alike on the WSHU podcast, After All Things. Get the news and culture from around the Long Island Sound in less than 15 minutes. Hosted by me, Sabrina Garone, weeknights wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, Keith. In all the years I've covered the Connecticut legislature, progressives have always called for a fairer state tax system, basically increased taxes on the wealthy. And the homeowner property tax relief has been a mantra. But this year, for the first time, relief for renters. Is that what prompted you to do this deep dive?
That was part of it, absolutely. What I find interesting is, while raising taxes on high earners absolutely has been part of the argument historically for decades. Most people in the General Assembly recognize that Governor Lamont has drawn a hard line in the sand. He will not raise taxes on high-earning households. So you're actually seeing proposals to lower tax rates on the poor and the middle class that don't require raising taxes on the wealthy, that primarily involve Connecticut perhaps not saving to pay down pension debt at the furious pace that we've been saving. Still pay it down faster than in the past, but not as fast as we've done, say, over the last 6 or 7 years. And those proposals still aren't going anywhere. Yet at the same time, every couple of years, Connecticut does, they call them, the wonky term for it is a tax incidence analysis, but it's a fairness study. It looks at who's effectively paying taxes. And it shows that low-income households can lose up to 40% of their income paying taxes, middle class as much as 15%, and the wealthy around 8%. So on the one hand, the state keeps saying its own tax system is unfair, yet it seems like that no matter what proposal comes up, the legislature and the governor say thank you for sharing, and it doesn't go anywhere.
Now, you give us the example of Sandy Pope as an example of the dilemma Gen Zs are facing right now. Could you just tell us a little bit about what her experience is?
Sure. Sandy's a 23-year-old woman from New Britain. She's a part-time student. She would like to work toward a degree in criminal justice, and like many folks, finds the challenge of higher education, paying for higher education to be difficult. But she's got some more immediate goals. She's been living in her mom's apartment, helping to pay the rent there, and simply wants to be able to afford her own apartment. Certainly a modest goal. Wants to be able to keep going to school, and finding cannot make the numbers work, and is finding that many of the people in her social circle at her age can't make the numbers work.
She can't afford an apartment.
Right. And was looking in her home city in New Britain, which in other words, she's not looking to try to rent or find an apartment in Fairfield or Westport. And I think her story is what a lot of young Connecticut residents are facing. They are, not forget having to have an apartment with a roommate. They're not even able to get out of home because the cost of living is so oppressive.
Now, there's this renter's credit that Majority Leader Jason Rojas came up with. Could you just explain what that is about and how that would help Sandy?
Sure. Well, there were a couple proposals for income tax credits for renters that would range, but we're talking about hundreds of dollars a year that you would get added to your refund. And some of these proposals also are very similar to the child tax credit. That's another popular one out there that would give you $600 per child, up to $1,800 per household. Legislators, Ebong, have also talked about making these credits refundable. In other words, let's say that the amount of income tax you owe is already down to zero before we've even applied these new credits. You would still get this money added to your refund. Even if you make so little, you don't owe any state income taxes. They're pitched as programs to help low-income families save more money. But the truth of the matter is, most of the folks fighting for them, whether it's the renter's credit or the child tax credit, no, they're not even probably going to get to save the money. They're just going to use them to cover essentials, be it rent or utilities or groceries or something like that.
Well, it didn't get through this year. Any chance that, considering this is an election year, people are campaigning on affordability, any chance that we'll see any of this happen maybe sometime in the very near future?
Here's an interesting thing. You'll see proposals come around for 2 or 3 years, and usually after that, the writing is on the wall. However, the renter's credit was just in its first year, but the child tax credit has been proposed every year since 2021, and it's gaining momentum. I could be wrong, but I expect you'll see these come back, and I think you will see them come back with increasing pressure. When you're dealing with gas prices over $4 a gallon, when you see inflation driven by the situation in the Persian Gulf and by tariffs continuing to go up, the pressure on households is what's driving these. And I'll just very quickly point out the child tax credit. There were a majority of representatives, members of the House of Representatives, who'd introduced a child tax credit bill. Nearly 2/3 of the senators introduced a child tax credit bill. So we know a majority of the legislature has already sponsored bills, and many people also vote for bills. They just don't necessarily sponsor them. The numbers are there. The way it's building, I think it's almost a guarantee these come back.
Well, thank you so much, Keith. Really appreciate your doing this.
Thank you.
Long Story Short is hosted by me, Ebong Udoma, and produced by Molly Ingram. Harriet Jones is our editor. WSHU's Alicia Daddario and the Connecticut Mirror's Gabby DeBenedictis are our digital team. This podcast is a collaboration between the Connecticut Mirror and WSHU Public Radio. We go behind the scenes at the home of public policy journalism in Connecticut. More can be found online at ctmirror.org and wshu.org. Our episodes can be found wherever you get your podcast.